What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 175th edition of the Sports Reality. My name is Jeremy John, aka the fourth greatest Grenadian of all time,
Perfect.
aka the Little Wayne of podcasts, because I will get on any podcast and hit it with the J train.
Perfect.
Let's welcome our guest from last week, Mike Edwards. What's going on with you, my man?
Hey, man, it's always a good day when you can rep your colors.
Yep. And then we have two other guests, my guys, my former co-host from the, I guess you could say now defunct DMV Dispute, my guy, Gerard, aka Rod Bricklin, and my guy, Darren, D-Bird Hoops. What's good with y'all?
How y'all doing? Nice to be here.
Glad to be here. Glad to be back.
It's been a minute since we've been on together. It's like old times. We've been sitting here talking for like 30, 40 minutes and didn't get started.
That's on me.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. Victory Monday for some of us.
Perfect.
Right?
Right.
Mike and I at the top here got some victories. We'll talk about the favorite team of the guys down at the bottom there on the screen, your Washington football team. But we got a lot to get into for this week's show. We're going to recap Fury Wilder, the trilogy. Also NFL Week 5, talk about the Chiefs and Bills game, the Browns and Chargers, the Bengals and Packers, but we're also going to get into John Gruden and his email that came out over the weekend. Also, one of the big reasons we have Mike on here is to talk about, because Mike is a photographer, as many of you all know from last week's episode. We're going to talk about something that happened with a photographer at a wedding, fairly recent. So we're going to get Mike's insights on this. We're also going to have our Washington Wizards season preview with my guys, Darren and Gerard. Just want to remind you all to subscribe to the podcast where it is available. And that includes Anchor, Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. And you can also watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Let's just get right into it. Fury Wilder, Part 3. Gerard, before the fight started, who did you think was going to win the fight?
My boy Mike here mentioned earlier before we started recording all these beautiful black faces. It's a beautiful thing to see. So it kind of pains me to admit that I want the big white boy on this one. Hey, that's a mountain of a man right there. I've been in my good amount of fights. I wouldn't want to see him on a good day. So yeah, I had to go with him.
Darren, what about you going into the fight? Who did you think was going to win?
Man, I hate to say it because I went back and forth because I was thinking, Fury's kind of heavy, like he's looking kind of bigger. So I think, I think Wilder might have a chance, but I had to go Fury because I couldn't bet against. It's like Gerard said. That's a mountain of a man, and no matter what, like he decks you a couple times, and I'm thinking, nope, I'm gonna sprawl you out. So I had to go Fury.
Mike, what about you?
Like the gentleman stated, my soul was with Wilder. My soul was with him. But looking at the mechanics of the deal and seeing how this dude, the second fight, really wasn't in a lot of shape and just worked him, I was like, he was in shape this time. I was like, it wasn't a chance. But I was shocked at how long it lasted more than anything.
Yeah, man. When they had to push the fight back due to COVID, I was like, okay, Wilder might get this one. And then the word had came out even before the COVID was that Fury wasn't looking too good anyway. So I was just kind of like, okay, Fury might get this one. It's back in Vegas. All right, whatever. He might get this one. He's going to learn from the second match where he learned that you just can't go out there trying to get haymakers every time. And as match 3 of the trilogy started, I'm just like, yo, this dude ain't learned one bit from the last two fights that you actually got to box with this dude. You just can't. It's not a street fight. Like, you got to box with this dude. Now, there was a moment. What was it? I guess round 4 when he got Fury down twice, or was it round 5 that he got him twice?
I believe it was 4.
Okay, and I feel like that was his best moment. Like, that was his best time for him to like really attack and keep aggressive.
It was his greatest and his worst, because if you notice, he just got rid of all of his boxing fundamentals and thought in his mind like, "Yo, I'm a punch away," and that just was his demise. He got
But that was
destroyed.
the big part
from
about
sticks on.
That was the big part about Wilder. This, like, for him to even have fundamentals to begin with, that man's whole career is just, hey, I got this right hook, and if it hit, you going down. Like,
Right.
that's what he made his career off of. And once that ain't work, it was a wrap. It was a wrap.
Yeah, Wilder was too limited. I don't think he expected this. So, I mean, it was nice to see him. It was nice to see him get Fury down a couple times, but he didn't have it towards the end. You could tell, when those arms start getting tired, Fury went to town, and he was ready for him. So
now, yeah, man, Fury. I mean, I'm not Fury. Wilder. I mean, that his footwork is I think the biggest thing that he needs to work on. Like, before we even get to the punches, it's just his footwork is bad. He's always off balance, and I think that's also part of the reason why he's able to go down when he finally gets a boxer of Fury's caliber. I'm also ducking a lot, trying to, and with the ducking, it allowed him to get hit by Fury a lot throughout the match. Now, after the match, Fury had some words to say about Wilder, and he said, I guess he wasn't feeling that Wilder didn't come and congratulate him, dap him up, good to sportsmanship. So he said, I hope God humbles him. And then he also started singing at the end of the fight in the ring. Mike, hasn't someone done that before? I swear someone's done that before.
Yeah, it's happened in the past, but I mean, at the end of the day, I do think Wilder should have took the approach of like, yo, I gave it my all. We warriors, you're a warrior, I'm a warrior, and let it. You can't play the victim. You can't play the victim when we all saw what happened. We all was witness. And social media, and we talked about it last week. You can't mess around on the internet and let them get just a little bit of some content, because they will expose you, and it will be the laugh of every single individual who actually gets to partake of that, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, social media was hilarious. I mean, and no matter what, we gonna get these jokes off.
No matter what.
So what happened? Someone tweeted, they were like, yo, I can't wait till we can get basically along the lines like, it doesn't feel good when like, basically they were just saying, I'd rather see Mayweather now beating up some random white dude than getting up, because they were like, yo, this the race war doesn't feel too good.
Nah, man.
So yeah, that was one thing a lot of people were joking about. Nah, man, this is what it feels like to be on the other side of it. There were some notable people at the fight. Shaq, Magic. Who else was at the fight there this weekend?
Everybody was there.
Everybody was there. It was a lot of people that was there.
Yep. Now, there was a point in the fight, I believe it was round 9, because it ended in the 11th, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ended in the 11th. Round 9, they put up the FanDuel odds at that point. And it said, Wilder was like plus 1,500. I was like, man, This is tempting. I was like, this is tempting. I said, because yeah, it's only $100. I was like, but I could win 15. I was like, and I say, you know what? Let me not do it. Let me not do it. And then the next round came and it had dropped down to like the odds definitely were worse. And I was like, and then around 11, he just got knocked out completely. Definitely had the blood coming out of his ear. He was concussed. Like we could definitely say that he was definitely concussed.
He was brutalized.
Right.
let's be honest. He was beating him like he stole something.
What do you call? Y'all know Filet on Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah. He
He's
had
local, by the way.
Yep. He had a video, a response.
It's time to go. Night. Yeah, it's over. Night.
Goodness gracious.
If it wasn't for my computer acting up, you can see the rest of it. But
That was the first time I seen CTE get developed in real time.
Yeah. We witnessed that.
Goodness gracious. Science don't need his brain. Shit.
oh, man.
Where it started, where it ended.
Oh man.
Results
Oh,
inconclusive.
Yeah, man.
my
Oh my
gosh.
goodness. Someone said Alabama took some real L's this weekend because the Alabama Crimson Tide lost, Auburn lost, and then Wilder took that crazy knockout. Do you think, before we go, Wilder could bounce back and get to form where he could compete for a heavyweight title?
Nah, man.
Not against a disciplined fighter. If you discipline, the game plan's out there. If you discipline, let him fight an undisciplined fight, you're gonna beat him. That's it.
Hey, Wilder, take your winnings, leave with some health, enjoy life with your beautiful wife, and call it a career. Like, get into broadcasting, open up your own line of gyms, do something. Like, you made it. You got out. Like, enjoy it. But nah.
He gonna go out there. He gonna be fighting like one of those Paul brothers in like a year.
Nah, he won't fall that low.
I don't know, man.
That's like Dancing with the Stars for boxing.
Right. Yeah, that's a little too low. I see him trying to do like the whole like UFC like just let me fight Conor McGregor or some shit. Like, I mean, something like that. That's what I could see before he goes to the whole Jake Paul thing.
I don't want to see that. No, I do not.
I mean, people will pay to see it though.
Oh yeah, people will pay to see it. I'd pay to see it.
Yeah, and they'll have Snoop in the background getting us.
Honestly, I'll pay for that.
Yeah.
I'll pay for Snoop to commentate a Madden game. I don't care what it is. Just behind the mic talk about what's going on. I don't care what's going on in front of it. Just want to hear Snoop rattle on for an hour and a half.
Exactly. He definitely made the Olympics worthwhile for me when he did the segment on equestrian horse races, talking about the horse looked like it was crip walking. I was too through with that. Did we lose Germ?
For a minute, yeah.
Okay.
But nah, I can't, like I said, boxing, of course, ain't what it used to be, but you know, that we get up for that one fight. It seems like one fight a year, maybe 2 fights a year, and not the whole Jake Paul or what. That's Nate Robinson. That's bull crap. I'm talking about like the actual real fights. I ain't big on the whole UFC thing, but boxing I still enjoy every now and then.
Nothing was like the Tyson Roy Jones era. Like when Tyson fought, everything stopped. It was like your whole family. Like I'm a church kid. My dad's a pastor, whatever. And when there was a Tyson fight, the church talked about it. Like, hey, we're not gonna have a social tonight. Tonight we going over such and such house because they got pay-per-view and we watching Tyson. And then when Roy Jones had his run, it was the same thing. You know, we don't see anything like that in the boxing arena anymore.
Right.
I mean, Floyd had that moment. Like, he didn't get to the level of Tyson and Roy Jones as far as like polarizing the whole black community is gonna get behind. Like when he started getting up to like 35-0, that's when they started to get some steam. But that's, I mean, I remember Roy Jones more vividly than I remember Mike Tyson, because like I was born in '94. Like so I was
you missed.
I might have been like 3 years old during one of them Tyson fights that my dad had in the den or something like that. I wasn't allowed to be at. Like that might be the closest I got to that. So yeah, I missed all that. But
I was
Roy,
87.
Floyd, I missed
that was
that.
my prime. That was my prime. You missed out.
Yeah, man, you missed out. Like everything stopped. Like when Mike Tyson Punch Out came out for Nintendo, let me tell you.
I played Mike Tyson Punch Out now. I played Mike Tyson Punch Out.
That's how big he was. Like, you was like Mike Tyson Punch Out's out. Mike's fighting, and like when Mike came out of jail, I remember when he came out of jail and they had his first fight, everything stopped in America. Like, I mean, everything stopped. They're like, well, he came out with the Kofi joint. He had, was down with the brothers, and he came out, and everybody was like, what? Came out to Redman, and it was just like the most amazing situation I've ever seen in my life. I wish this generation would get to experience something of that magnitude.
Yeah, not like this, not like old Tyson from like a couple months ago. Like, you got to see him when he was like at his prime. But it does say something that people will still like pay to see him at at this age. Like, that's
because we starving, man. We starving. Like, we didn't really jump on the bandwagon with Mayweather into the Pacquiao series, series, because then you hate to say it, but the race aspect of things heightened things. The Filipino community is huge, and Pacquiao was their champion, and then we was like, all right, we gotta step up to this brother, because these Filipino brothers is talking that junk to us in the hospital. I remember one of my nurses is like, Pacquiao beat Mayweather. I was like, oh, okay, all right. we got to step up for our boy.
My dentist's office, the dental hygienist or whoever that I usually always saw, she was talking that smack about Pacquiao too. She's like, oh, did you see the fight? You see, or are you gonna watch it? Are you gonna watch Pacquiao? He's gonna beat your boy.
Yeah. And that's what you need.
Black. Floyd's automatically your boy. Like, you could have been a serious boxing fan and love Pacquiao style and thought he was the better fighter, but you had that melanin in you. You was automatically Floyd's boy, and everybody just assumed like. Well,
but low key, like, black people was riding with Pacquiao. It was like, yo, Pacquiao is out here tearing Bama's up. But then once you have that, and that's the thing about boxing. It's not just about boxing. It's a storyline. You look at the history of boxing when it comes to the communities and how during civil rights, how important boxing was to the civil rights movement. And then further along, how it became part of the hip hop era. Like, all of these facets were so important to boxing. And it's lost its essence, because it's like, it's placated with these people on social media trying to like rah stuff. And yeah, man,
but
that's why we pay for Fury and Wilder.
Right.
But boxing itself didn't do itself any favors with all the different different weight classes they added in just to make more title fights and make everything a bout for a bout. Like, and what really did ended up hurting boxing was the downfall of the heavyweight class. Like, once it became a bigger draw to see 160-pound Pacquiao and 170-pound Mayweather. It's not the same. Yeah. And like I said, I'm a big guy. Like, and when the heavyweight class starts looking like me rolling out of bed with some gloves on, like, you're not seeing, boxers built like linebackers weighing 225, 240 going at each other. You don't see it anymore. And, Wilder Fury, it was, kind of, a resurgence for a little bit. And hopefully it can continue. Hopefully it can continue, man. Because, Mike, like you said, I missed the Mike Tyson there, but that's what a heavyweight is. And like in the perfect sense of the word, like he's what, and I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I remember when I became a fan of Mike Tyson, I was like 8 or 9. And I watched Boomerang for the first time. And I seen Robin Givens.
Yeah.
And I got catapulted into puberty at that moment.
You became a man that night.
And then
What just happened?
my dad was like, she used to be married to Mike Tyson. I was like, and this is before I knew any of the actual story of Robin Givens and Mike Tyson.
Right.
I was like, I don't know, Pop. I know you got that Ali poster on your wall. But so for him to survive getting his ear bit off and to land that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Mike got the belt for life, man. I don't know.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Oh man, we lost our wonderful host, Jeremy, though. Live sports update. The ALDS, the Red Sox are currently in the middle of a 5-run third inning.
Oh wow!
Took a 5-0 lead over Tampa Bay. Got 2 outs, 2 in scoring position, so it might get real ugly for Tampa Bay, man. This might be the series right here.
Yeah,
man, I'm not a huge Boston guy. I really want Boston to lose. I wanted Tampa Bay to get out of here.
So let's talk about you guys. Let's talk about you guys, and you guys are hometown fans of like the Wizards and the Reds and Washington football team. My bad. Pardon my French. So how's that? How are you feeling, I guess, going into the new season, especially with the NBA? Like with this is a whole different type of team that they're supposed to be building around Bill. Like, how are y'all feeling about that?
I'll let you go first, Darren.
Well, so Gerard and I have had many conversations in the past, and I will preface this by saying, Roddy's, if I recall correctly, been very, very adamant about like we need to trade Beal and just like kind of, and I hate the fact that I'm always admitting that you're right, but I mean, I look at the Wizards offseason, I'm like, okay, yes, we need to trade Russell Westbrook. He's not gonna take us there, which I knew in my heart of hearts. My biggest issue with trading Westbrook was we were left without a point guard. And then Dinwiddie comes on, I'm like, okay, all right, we're gonna get Dinwiddie. And now I'm just, the more I think about it and the more I watch them in like preseason, I'm like, I don't know what this team's identity is. It's like, it's Bradley Beal, and it's like these guys that are maybe shooters. They're like hustle guys. I don't know what the fit is. And we've got a lot of depth in the front court, but I don't know the quality. Like Kuzma, I'm never big on, like Kuzma is just, he is what he is. And then we got Trez, who's probably gonna be like, once Thomas Bryant comes back, like what's his role? And so I don't know what the center rotation looks like. I don't know what the forward rotation looks like. I hate to say you're right, Gerard, but we got to trade Bertans because I don't see a place for him in this, which I still have that jersey, by the way. Remember I had that Bertans jersey that I got. It was actually thrown in for free when I bought a Beal jersey and I bought a Hachimura jersey. And they're like, I'm going to throw in this Bertans jersey for free. And I was like, okay.
I would throw in Bertans for free in a trade.
I see you all got it.
I swear to God, like that was the dumbest signing. Ever.
So I'm kind of on the train of I kind of want to see where this team starts, but if they're like, I don't know, 10 and whatever by trade deadline, blow it up. Like honestly.
Yeah,
I will
I
make this
agree.
really quick.
Yeah.
I've always been on the whole. Once the John Wall Brad Bill situation didn't work out, I said blow it up.
Mm.
Now, what they've done in all season, what they got back from Westbrook, I actually like this team.
Okay.
I will say, I mean, they're no more at best. They're 6,
Including Kuzma. You
Kuzma, I actually do like Kuzma. If you ask Kuzma to do the things he's good at, he's good at scoring in transition, shooting a spot up J, and playing defense against bench squad forwards. He's not a starting
streaky. He's streaky.
He's
not even John Stark streaky though.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, he's streaky, but if Kuzma is your, let's say, fourth option, you will live with that.
Okay.
If he's your second or your third, you in trouble. But if you got Bill, you got Dinwiddie, I don't know if you have Rui, but if you
do, he's coming back. We just don't know when he's coming back, but he'll be there.
But my point is, I would actually keep this squad together if they hit on any of the draft picks in the last 5 years. Like none of the draft picks they've had since Beal have actually worked. Otto Porter, he was a top 3 pick. He's a bust for where he was drafted. And then you got. What'd you say?
He's in
Chicago.
No, he's in Golden State.
He is in Golden State. That's right. I forgot.
And so, and then you had Troy Brown. I don't know what that was. Kelly Oubre before him. Then you had Rui and Denny back to back, and then you just had Kispert. If any of those guys, in my mind, projected to be like a legitimate star in the NBA that you could put next to a veteran Beal and a Dinwiddie in 2 years or 3 years down the line, I'd be really excited about this team because they're young, they have talent, but you need that third elite player, and I don't see on this roster where you're going to get that third elite player. If Dinwiddie is healthy, he could become elite adjacent, kind of like a CJ McCollum, kind of like different play styles, but like level of where, he's not an elite guy, but he's as close you can get to elite without being elite. Like if you could get another one of those guys out of the rosters that you have, I'd be excited. Or if you could package those guys for like a Karl Anthony Towns or a guy like that, then cool.
I'm not Cat.
Cat as a third option.
We call it. I see y'all got to the Wizards talk, and let me tell you something. I think the podcasting gods were like, nah, you about to say something reckless. Let's get you out the paint right now because randomly the computer just started acting up, and I was like, yo, I can't do anything. But yo, I did hear a good portion of what you all said, and I pretty much agree with y'all when it comes to boxing. When you are talking about how the difference between the Mayweather era and the Tyson era, and how the rivalries come down, and about how Wilder has to just at this point probably retire, be in the booth like you said, Gerard. Y'all definitely held it down. We will talk more about the Wizards coming up soon, but let's get into actually we're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna go to our sports free zone and talk about this photographer that flexed their muscles. Now, Mike, you are a photographer.
That I am.
And we spoke about that last week. How many let's say weddings, because how many weddings have you done so far?
I'd probably say I'm approaching about the 50 mark or more, 50 more wedding mark.
Okay.
Yeah. The wedding business has been good to you, boy.
The wedding business is great. Now, before we even get into the story, Darren and Gerard, do you all know what I'm referring to? What story I'm about to tell? And before I get to that, Mike made a request earlier, and I forgot to adhere to that request. But here it is. Mike wanted to play this fabulous Kanye West song.
Yeah, we
But
got to
yes.
hit a flashing lights, man. You got to hit a
Mhm.
flashing lights when you're talking to the photographer. But yeah, man, this situation is very interesting to say the least.
Now, Darren and Gerard, do you all know what we're referring to?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, well, for those that don't know, we're going to read the story here for you all, or I'm going to give a synopsis of it. A young man was asked by his friends to be the photographer. They saw him. He used to take photos of pets, pretty much, and they were like, "Oh, we like your photos. Can you be the photographer for our wedding? We are on a budget." When you hear that, Mike, we are on a budget. What are your first thoughts?
They ain't got no money. Either they ain't got no money or they got money and they just don't want to spend money.
Mhm.
Yep.
So yes, so they say they offer the friend $250 to do the wedding. They told him what they wanted, what they expected. The friend reluctantly said, "Look, you're my friend. I'm gonna be there anyway. Whatever, $250. I'll do it."
And they wanted all day coverage from the morning to night.
Yes. And real quick, I did something like that before, but it was literally a similar situation where they were just like, "Hey, we saw that you take pictures." I was like, "But I'm not a photographer." They were like, I was like, I take pictures. There's a difference. And they were like, "Nah, like, why don't you do it?" I was like, "Look, I've never done a wedding, so why are you trusting me with this?" And they were like, "Nah, let's do it." So I was like, "All right, cool." And I did it, and they enjoyed it. But they didn't treat me like this photographer was treated. They definitely treated me well. This photographer had to do all day coverage, like you said, Mike. Had to go meet up with the bride as she did her hair and makeup and, getting on the dress. Same thing with the groom and his groomsmen. Had to get them as they were getting dressed in their tux and then arriving to the venue. 10 plus hours dealing with the bride and groom. And at the reception, they're like, "Hey, you can't," there was no seat for him at the table that he was supposed to be at. And they say, "Well, yeah, you're supposed to be doing photos, so no, there is no table. And oh, by the way, there's no food for you either." Mike, if you had heard that from a client, what would you do?
It's funny because similar situations like that have occurred, whereas the venue, or it could be a fault of the venue and or it could be a fault of whoever is coordinating. With this situation, well, it was like his friends, and when your friends are involved and they don't take the time to make sure that you're taken care of, that is like a slap in the face. There's a situation that I'll share real fast, where I shot a wedding, and it was time and the way I put it in my contract, and this is one of the things that I always tell photographers: put in your contract that you eat whatever they eat, whatever is on the menu, whatever is, you make sure that they allocate at least 15 to 20 minutes, and they do not schedule anything during that block of time that you eat. Being a rookie in the game, I had this situation, and they offered me a bag lunch one time, and they took me into like this back room, like I was the help, like, and so they was like, "Yeah, you go back here," and I was like, "Nah." I said, "Let me talk to whoever is in charge, because in my contract it says I eat whatever." And they were like, "Well, we're the venue. This is not going to happen." So I actually had to go intercede and went and talk to the coordinator, and I got up out of that room. But
Wow.
It's interesting because the DJ who actually DJ'd there often, he's like, "Wow, well, you just really stood up for us, man, because you got me at tables that I've been here a couple of times. They always give me a bag lunch, and I'll be happy to stop." I'm like, "No, I ain't gonna that ain't gonna happen with me." I'd have did the same thing old boy did, erased the card, been about my business, and I wouldn't talk bad about them at the end of the day, but if it came to my attention, I'll let everybody know what the deal was.
Yeah, man. And like you mentioned, after the photographer got fed up that They did not have a meal, couldn't even take a break, barely had any water. They just was like, yo, I'm done. And here I am about to delete these photos real quick. And yeah, I kudos to the photographer, to be honest, man, because that was better than what I would have done. I probably would have done something a lot worse.
Yeah.
So better than what I would have done. Darren, I guess you could say you're in a similar field, but more you're in the music field.
You
ever had a situation kind of like this, Papa?
Yes, sir. I have definitely packed up my instrument and left. So I've had two similar situations. One was a food thing where they're just like, oh, well, we don't have the food to feed you. I have been there and I'm like, well, this was when I was like young in college and I'm like, I got to pay for all my meals and whatnot. So I'm like, the least you can do is like, feed me. Right. So, being in college, you play a lot of weddings. That's what most people do. The like wedding season is like summer, fall, whatnot. And yeah, this one venue, they're just like, they paid me, but like part of the stipulation was, you get the food, you get like, we'll have a plate for you, whatever. And they're just like, no, we just need you to be playing and whatnot. And then food's packed up. I'm still playing. And I'm like, nope. So, they hadn't like done the whole like cut the cake thing, whatever. And I'm like, you ain't gonna have music for cutting the cake. So I was, so that was, I think my junior year, that was like spring of my junior year of college. And so then later on as an adult, I was playing for another wedding. And then we had agreed on the price because I'm like, it was people that I knew. And, friends always think, they can kind of take advantage of you a little bit. And they're like, no, we'll pay. Because like my thing is, this is what I do for a living. So y'all are my friends, but I'm still need to get paid to do this, to give up my time, to give up like a Saturday, like my entire Saturday afternoon and whatnot. And, I got like overhead stuff like that. Like I got to get my stuff in, so forth and so on. And so we had agreed on a price. It was actually $500 for the afternoon because it was like an outdoor wedding, stuff like
generous.
that. So,
you're a generous brother.
Yeah. Well, that was the friends and family discount too.
Oh, okay.
Friends and family discount. So I was like, I still need to get paid, but like, I'll do it for this. Right. And it was like, and really the $500 was also because like it was outside and like I'm risking like, weather damage, et cetera, to my instruments. And they tried to cut my pay in half. So like, no, we're going to pay you $250. And I'm like, because I already gave you a discount. So you ain't going to cut it. And I was like, sure enough, I don't talk to these friends anymore. Like I was like, because now I actually showed up and this was even before I started playing. I was like getting ready to set up and they're like, oh yeah. So by the way, like we're trying to use some of the money for like, put it towards our honeymoon and stuff like that. I'm like, you should have budgeted for that before. You can't tell me day of. So I was like, you better come with the rest of the $250 or I'm gonna leave. And they're like, well, I mean, can't you just like really? Cause like and I'm like, well, you know what? You keep your $500 and I'm out. And I just left.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry. You go like, I don't know, find like a radio or like an iPod to hook up to something, to the speakers or something. Cause I'm not sure, whatever. And it's like, they had a DJ too, but they were like, they wanted the wedding music and they wanted me, I was supposed to play their song, their first dance song. I was part of the group playing the first dance song. So I was like, you better cue up some wedding music for your wedding
YouTube
or whatever.
Right.
And
yeah, it's crazy. Like, that's crazy. It's always the people It's
right. It's always
and this is the interesting caveat to the story. They knew the person. It's always these individuals who, quote unquote, your family or your friends or who support small businesses,
right?
But they're always the ones who are penny pinching or they want 3,000 things for $3, and this is what you get. At the end of the day, we drive there. We use our own gear. We use our expertise. Not only do I take the images for you, I take these images, I take them to my house. I call all the images. I edit all the images. I house the images. I make sure that you look extraordinarily beautiful. Even when your makeup artist ain't that dope, I make sure you look good, you know? And you gonna come to me and penny pinch? Nah.
Yep. Ah, man. That's something I don't miss that. I don't miss that, to be honest. I don't miss that. Oh man. Let's get into the NFL real quick. NFL week 5 is in the books, or so far.
Almost.
Yeah, almost. Like you said, one more game to go in the NFL, and that is tonight. Actually, just started.
Yeah.
We have the old Baltimore versus the new Baltimore, the Colts versus the Ravens. And right now the Colts are up 7-0, but just want to recap some of the scores for week 5 so far. 2 of us have a victory Monday, 2 of us don't. So we will recap those scores. It's Thursday night. Rams defeated the Seahawks 26-17. We'll talk a little bit about that game. The Falcons, they're 2-3. They got a victory over the Jets in London, 27-20. Kyle Pitts, most reception yards so far in his rookie season. Cordarrelle Patterson still doing his thing. And when it comes to fantasy football, the Saints defeated the Washington football team 33-22. The Packers in overtime on a Mason Crosby field goal won 25-22. The Vikings on a Joseph game-winning field goal, 54 yards, defeated the Lions 19-17. The Lions are still winless. Kirk Cousins, I will take every opportunity to bash Kirk Cousins. He survived another week. The Patriots almost lost to the Texans, but they came back late in the game to take the lead 25-22. The Buccaneers, remember last week we weren't sure, Mike, about this spread, and we're like, man, this spread's kind of high, man. Well, Buccaneers covered it. 45-17. This is the first time Tom Brady had a 400-plus passing game, 5 TDs ever in his career. All this time that he's played, I thought he would have had one of these games before. He's had 5 TD games, but not 400-plus passing yards, or 400-plus passing yards and not a 5 TD game. And so yeah, that was phenomenal when I heard that. The Steelers, they're 2-3
because he wasn't really airing it out. He wasn't really airing it out until Randy Moss came.
Yeah.
Before that, everything was like dink, 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 dink.
Yeah.
And so
5
you didn't really see
touchdowns
him
hard
like
to get.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
5 TDs is amazing to get, but it doesn't happen every week.
Yep. Steelers won 27-19 over the Broncos. Steelers are 2-3. Broncos are 3-2. Mike, your Eagles, fly Eagles fly. They're 2-3. 21-18 victory over the Panthers. They had 3 interceptions in that game. The Titans defeated the Jaguars 37-19. I really thought the Jaguars were going to win because of, Urban Meyer's weekend a couple weekends ago. But so I was wrong on that. Chargers 47-42 over the Browns. Probably the best game of the week in the NFL. The Bears and Justin Fields get a victory. 20-19 Bears, first road win versus the Raiders since week 10 of 2007. So yep. Cardinals 17-10 over the 49ers. And Sunday night's game, the Bills smacked the Chiefs 38-20. Let's start with that game. Are the Bills Super Bowl contenders, Darren?
I don't see it. I see them as I still want to roll with the Chiefs. So I see them as an AFC Championship game contender. I don't see them as Super Bowl contenders. I just think they're not quite there yet. I can't say it. I know they beat the Chiefs, but I still can't root against Patrick Mahomes until someone truly dethrones them. So,
what about you, Mike?
I think what we have here is a greater issue that's happening in Kansas City versus the glorification of what Buffalo. I mean, I noticed it when they played us the week before. They're not that strong defensively, and it's going to cost them down the stretch if they don't tighten up the ship when it comes to their defense. And they need to protect Patrick Mahomes just a tad bit better than what they've been doing. Like I said, like Darren said, when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, he's a stud. He's going to do what he can do with the limitations, but they have some serious issues on the defensive end right now over in Kansas City.
Jerron,
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on the Bills?
They're Super Bowl contenders. As of right now, they are my pick to be in the AFC Championship, and it's not the Chiefs. I got a Chargers Bills AFC Championship right now. The Chargers defense is really, really bad. Like, I'm a Washington fan, unfortunately, and the Chiefs, the Chiefs defense is really, really bad. Chiefs has got the only defense worse than us right now. Like, the Chiefs have a worse defense than the Jaguars, than the Lions, than Washington, than the Texans, whoever you want to name. And Mahomes is great, and he could elevate a bottom third of the league defense, but you can't elevate a defense that's giving up 35 points a game, especially when you got the Bills, who's legitimate. Like, Josh Allen's a top 5 quarterback right now. They have weapons all around the field on offense. Defense is good. Chargers, like, I don't even think the Chiefs are going to win their division. I got them making the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to win the division. And their Bills are definitely Super Bowl contenders for me, definitely, because the AFC is not that strong.
They are contenders for sure in the AFC, and you all are correct about the Kansas City Chiefs defense. I remember last night during the game, what's homeboy's name with Al Michaels? Chris Collinsworth. And he says, this is well into the fourth quarter. Yeah, man, Spagnuolo got to call something. And I think it's coming. The next play is going to be the play. It never happened. And he just kept on saying that in the fourth quarter. Oh, the next play has to be it. Where it's like, they're going to make some noise and it calls a turnover. They're going to get a big sack to get back into the game. That didn't happen. From beginning to end, the Bills controlled that game. But other news in the NFL, which is probably the biggest news in the NFL, John Gruden is under the hot seat, or on the hot seat, excuse me, for some comments that he made in several emails. One of them specifically, this is now the NFL was investigating your Washington football team, Darren and Gerard, for a terrible workplace environment. And they were going through these emails, approximately 650,000 emails, and they came across one where John Gruden emails then general manager Bruce Allen in 2011. Now, John Gruden was working for ESPN, doing Monday Night Football, and the topic that we're talking about, the lockout that happened or was happening at the time. And John Gruden was upset with how the head of the Players Association, DeMaurice Smith, was handling this, and he called DeMaurice Smith, quote, Dumboris Smith, and made fun of his lips, calling them Michelin tire size lips. Not only that, less than an hour ago, the New York Times says, and the headline says, Raiders coach emails included homophobic and misogynistic comments. So they found even more stuff out of this thing. Gruden obviously tried to brush it off after the game yesterday, which was his first real media availability, and said, hey, I don't remember. He said he doesn't even remember saying those comments, but I'm like, homeboy, you typed it out in an email. And number one, I know it's 2011, but who just uses emails to talk to friends? Like,
my boy was lit. He was like,
like, who does?
Here's what I'm gonna do.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I hit up Darren and Gerard and Mike, I hit them up on their phone when I text them or on social media, and it's like, who just talks like conversations through emails that aren't work related? Like, like who does that? But yeah, he then chalked it up as he said, first of all, I don't even remember saying it. He said, but if I did, I apologize. I don't have a racist bone in my body. And when you hear that comment, I don't have a racist bone, you know you racist. And then said that he was ready to get past this. But yeah, man.
Black friends, though. He got black friends.
Yeah, he got black friends. A lot of them in the locker room. A lot of black friends. What bothered me though was the reports of what it came out, I guess, in the locker room, because the Wall Street Journal, they're the ones who came up with the story, and they gave them a warning. Hey, the story's going to drop Friday. Just letting you know. Do you want to comment? So of course, Friday morning, that's when Gruden had a meeting with the team and told them what happened and apologized. And sources say there was one player that got up, one black player that got up and gave him a hug and told him, that, we understand and we're behind you. And I'm just kind of like, why do we always have to hear this about stuff like this? Like, we always got to have that one person that's comforting, the white person that has done something so wrong and egregious, and we're just like, no,
come here, boss. Come here, boss.
I don't know who that player was, but I guarantee he closer to 53 on that depth chart than he is number 1.
So that happened. But
Adam Darren Waller.
Adam Schefter, though, on Sunday on ESPN Countdown was like, look, I'm being told by several people that, there's some players who are legit upset with him and what happened. There's some kids, some players who are just kind of like, they're shocked it happened. And then there are some players that are just kind of like, yeah, we can get past this. So it's a wide spectrum in the locker room. One person that did go on record was Derek Carr and pretty much said, yeah, it was shocking, but we're going to get past this. He went on the record and saying that Josh Jacobs said on the record that, I don't believe, John Gruden is a racist. Darren, a lot of people like to ask this question whenever this stuff happens. Is John Gruden a racist?
Lord have mercy. You know what? Yes. I'm gonna just say it. Okay. So anybody that knows me knows, well, for all of us, it's been a tough year and a half for Black people. And I've never really liked John Gruden. He always kind of soured on me. Like, even honestly, like when Hard Knocks dropped, that's when we finally got to see kind of more of him. I was always just kind of like, I never thought he deserved the contract he got. And then I saw Hard Knocks and I saw more of him. I'm like, this guy is just, he's not, I don't know. He never struck me as a leader of men. And the language that he used, we all know the Black caricatures. We've seen them, the big lips, how it goes. I don't even want to repeat what he said, but it's like, that was very clearly, it's a derogatory image to be used, directed at a Black person. And, I always say that, and he was angry when he wrote it. And I always say, angry people tell the truth. Like, that's when you're pushed to that point, it like shows who you really are. It's like, just as alcohol is a truth serum, anger is one of those truth serums, and it reveals a person. So people try to say, oh, I'm angry or whatever. Like, that's not who I am. That's not what I do. That's not how I talk. And it's like, no, that's the point where your filter drops and you're just like, I'm gonna just say what I'm thinking, what I wouldn't have said had I been of sound mind or whatnot. So, yeah, he's like, he doesn't have one racist bone in his body. He probably has several. And then it's the trying to, when he tries to walk it back and he's like, I meant this and this and that, or what he tried to say. Like, he was referring to like the fact that, he's a liar or whatever.
Yes. He said in Florida, or I guess wherever he's from in Florida, there's a saying pretty much lying lips are big lips, something of those lines. So you say he was
That's
trying to
racist.
say his
That's
lips are so
still racist.
big that he's a
Like,
liar.
it's Florida. Like, what do you think? Yeah.
The bigger the list, the bigger the lies. Like, yeah, Eric. That's still racist.
And I mean, my last point on this is people will apologize. He's not I feel like he's not apologizing for what he said. He's apologizing that it got out, and that's it's not something where I'm gonna get ahead of this as soon as it happens. It's like, 10 years later, I gotta I guess I should apologize for these comments that I made a long time ago. So, I think every black player in that locker room should have stood up and said something, but it makes me upset that there's not more people being outwardly honest, but they're probably like watching out for their job. So I get it. They're probably watching their position and whatnot. So I guess I can't come out and say whatever I need to say, but it rubbed me the wrong way. But yeah,
I think the players in the Raiders locker room, a lot of them can't say just because of how the NFL pay structure is, contracts are done. If this was an NBA team, I know for sure.
Oh yeah, they'd be
I mean, he would have been gone. I mean, we saw what happened with Sterling.
Yeah.
And where two teams in the playoffs were like, we just not about to play this playoff game. Like, where one team was going to get a win and they were like, nah, we still not going to do this. The NFL is just a little bit different. Randy Moss, and I'm paraphrasing, he was just like, yeah, this hurts me, and he was crying on ESPN Countdown yesterday. Like, hey, he's like, I had my civil liberties, messed with as a teen due to my race when he was in high school, and he was like, and we're in the 21st century, and we're still dealing with this. You had Teddy Bruschi that pretty much said, yeah, he's a racist, pretty much. You had Rex Ryan that almost said it, but definitely said what he said was racist. You had Keyshawn Johnson, and we know how Keyshawn had his run-ins with John Gruden as the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in the early 2000s. He was like, look, man, I've known this dude. He's just a bad dude from the jump. He's like, but now, 20 years later, we're seeing it. He said, when I was getting criticized for being a diva or just wanting the football more often, everyone was saying that he was so great at what he did and stuff like that. And he said, now we're starting to see the real John Gruden. Keyshawn Johnson even added this. He was like, it was an unnecessary jab, but I have no problem with it. He said, How did we give John Gruden quarterback camp and he ain't never really coached a good quarterback? It was like the quarterbacks that he dealt with, they were already good by the time he got to them. He's like, what about the quarterbacks that he had to actually teach and groom? Yep. It was like none of them was good, and we gave him a show quarterback camp. I was like, Keyshawn. It's like a 20-minute segment from the show. Their name of their show is now it's Jay, Keyshawn, and Max. I forgot what the title is now. The morning radio show on ESPN. So yeah, check it out if you all can. Mike, though, now that this is out, what should the NFL do?
Well, you're still dealing with the good old boys club of the NFL. So it's only, and this is the thing about the NFL. The NFL never really steps out in the forefront when it comes to race relations. They didn't do it when the Floyd situation came out. They didn't do it in the midst of everything that was going on. In this situation, I think they want to try to handle it internally. But at some point, the NFL is going to have to stand up for its players and not allow these owners to dictate how things are happening culture-wise in the locker room. And at some point, the players of the NFL need to recognize that they run the league, just like the NBA does. So, it's the good old boys club. We'll see how Goodell and his good old boys handle the situation at the end.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know. what the NFL is going to do, but I think what he's done is already enough to be suspended for a few games.
Mm-hmm.
It's enough if the league said you can't, you're suspended for a year. It's enough if the Raiders say, yeah, we got to let you go. All of those are perfect results for me. Like, just simply what he said about DeMaurice Smith, and now what we found out due to this New York Times article that just got released within the hour. I mean, there was more things. There was
I just got an alert on my
homophobic
watch. My watch just got banged. I was like, what?
So there's more to this, and actually, there's a quote here. Wow, he uses the F word. Jeez.
Yep.
And he talks about Michael
Literally.
Sam. Also,
all of that junk just hit my watch as we were talking.
So this is interesting. Now we got to ask this question. Carl Nassib is a player on the Raiders, and I know the reporters. Tomorrow's an off day. He's lucky tomorrow's an off day. They ain't showing up to the facility, but Wednesday is coming, and I know at some point Carl Nassib is going to be asked this question: how does he feel that his head coach, at one point in the very recent history, because 2014 ain't that long ago, was talking about the NFL drafting quote unquote queers into the league and using queers as a derogatory term.
He messing with the wrong communities right now,
Man,
bro. He messing with the wrong communities.
Oh man,
That's what I'm saying.
it's ridiculous that this is happening, and now Gruden's gonna have to answer. He gonna have to answer to this for real.
The thing is this, man. The NFL has to be in front of this. This can't be a situation where ultimately the Raiders are going to try to do so. The NFL has to stand up, because it's enough. Most black people, they're not feeling the NFL right now. Like, you talk to like every fourth black person. You go to a church, there'll be that one person. I don't mess with the NFL no more. Yeah, I'm a fan of such and such, but I don't mess with the NFL. But if you're talking about you dealing with a united community, two communities that are not gonna be playing no games right now, the NFL's gonna have to be like, you know what, we're gonna do this. We're gonna make a decision ahead of the Raiders in this situation.
Yeah, now that I'm actually skimming through this article, I mean, it's enough for him to lose his job, to be honest.
It's enough for him to lose his job. But what Mike's saying, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the NFL is going to come out and say and be in front of it. It's going to all fall on the shoulders of Mark Davis. And, Mark Davis has to make a business decision, because I guess Gruden's under contract like maybe like 5 or 6 more years, something like that.
The coach gets 10 years.
A lot.
I'm sure
he's getting bread.
I'm sure in that contract there's a morality clause that if he does something untoward that's damaging to the face of the Raiders or whatever like that, then some of that money is null and void, and he's not due that money. And if that's the case, great. But regardless of that, he might just have to eat that, because this is now, like I said, the black community was already offended by his original comments that came out. Now he's coming for an entirely different community. Now there's 2 minority communities that are represented on his team: black players, homosexual players, or homosexual people. And he has these guys in his locker room, and there's no way that they can trust him. There's no way they could like him. And, me personally, I've always felt any white person born before 1966 was at least a little bit racist. I mean, just
I feel the same way.
I mean,
You're right.
Until proven otherwise, because at some point in their life, racism was the norm. Like, open out and about racism was just, oh, that's cool. I'm a 4-year-old white person, and that 25-year-old black person is less than me because I'm white and they're black. Like, face fact, like, that's just the way like life was not that long ago. And so no matter how much education or whatever comes around, people are still have that embedded in them unless they choose to actively grow and get better from that. And John Gruden clearly has not done that. He hasn't, he's made a career working with black people. He's with athletes, with black business people, with black executives, with black anchors and TV personalities. But he is who he is at this point. He's a 68-year-old man, however old he is. He ain't changing. He's not going to go to sensitivity training and get better. He is who he is. And, not ironically, but fittingly enough, he was emailing somebody in the Washington organization the entire time it was happening. And it was, it's par for the course, unfortunately. But I don't think the NFL is going to do anything because NFL still all ran by owners. It's still all ran by owners. The players don't have that hold on the NFL that the players in the NBA do. The players in the NBA, they say, we're not playing. Okay, cool. Don't go. All right. They had no league. If the NFL did that, they'll go get some guys off the street and put them in pads in a heartbeat.
But the NFL can do that. That's the thing. The NFL, honestly, can have more power than the NBA if they were united, and that's the thing.
But it's never going to be united because the demographics of the NFL and NBA are too different. The NBA is almost entirely black, with people of similar backgrounds. And
this is how I say it can happen. It can happen because the demographic on the defensive end of the football field is black. The demographic of your superstar quarterbacks now are becoming black. And if you have those two keys working for you, you have a whole side of the ball that you run. And then you have the face of organizations who are now black players. Who are your top 5 quarterbacks right now? Other than the GOAT.
I mean,
Mahomes,
you can go through them, Lamar, Russ, Pat Mahomes, Kyler Murray. You can go through them.
Exactly. So I'm like,
I hate putting Dak on that
do
list.
I love Dak. I hate his team.
Dak is balling this season.
He's balling. He's MVP caliber, man.
He is, and I hate to say it.
It pains me to say that. But yeah, all these quarterbacks, like it's becoming
that's all well and good. Yeah. That's all well and good. Not one of them, not one of the people we just named, not even Tom Brady, the GOAT, has 40% of the power LeBron James has in the NBA.
You're absolutely right.
And so that's what I'm saying. And I'm sorry for the listeners. So keep trying to bring it back to Washington, like. Players like Taylor Heineke make it impossible for what you're saying to happen because let's say all those guys we just named to say we're taking a stand, we're not playing. The NFL could literally go find undrafted guys and could play the quarterback position or play any position at a competent enough level for it to be entertaining football.
But Taylor Heineke. But the thing about it at the end of the day, it's about ratings. The NFL right now has a decline in ratings that is happening in the minority community. Okay. What's helping them right now is that your superstars, your faces of organizations are black players. If you take away them and then you have black entertainers who are not going to, forget the halftime show, Super Bowl, we out. And you can change the narrative. But I agree with you. And your point where none of these guys have the authoritative power to say someone like a LeBron James. And I'm sorry we strayed away, Jeremy.
No. But, this is fitting to the conversation, though.
But to get back to your original question about Gruden being racist, and this kind of ties in because we've, even your boy Jerry Jones, he kind of shows himself a little bit now. Yeah, when all that stuff was going down, and yeah,
he's a good old boy's wet dream.
Yeah, exactly. But is he a racist? I will say yes, because racists show their true colors behind closed doors. And this email was an example of a closed door situation with Gruden feeling like he could express himself. And now I'm sure that they went to a lot of other emails from other coaches in the league or executives in the league. They will find a very trending understanding of what the people who run the NFL are all about, And it's sad if the players would just get, I'd say 20% of what LeBron was about, the NFL would be a totally different situation.
But
Yeah, man.
that's the thing though. They can never get that because the NFL will never ever be surrounded and unified behind one player. It just can't happen. Like, as great as Tom Brady is the undisputed greatest football player to ever play the game of football in the National Football League. He might not be the most talented. That could be up for debate for the Jerry Rice, the Jim Browns, the Johnny Unitas, who you want to say. But he, as far as NFL players, he's had the best career of any one person at the greatest position, at the most important position in the NFL. And everybody knows Tom Brady, but he doesn't have, like, the league doesn't start and stop with him the way that the NBA starts and stops with LeBron. Like, when LeBron's not there, ratings take a dip. And it's a significant one when LeBron's not in the playoffs, when LeBron is not in the building, when LeBron's not starting. Like, it's not just, it's LeBron this generation before that it was Michael, generation before that it was Bird and Magic, before that you could go back for there's always one or two guys that unify the entire league. The NFL will never be one or two player centric like that because there's not enough parity. As great as Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, they went on that run for the Patriots, but it's too much of each season is a new season. It's not one guy, one person just dominating the way that it does. And there's people are too rooted in their fandoms. NBA fans, they follow LeBron around. They will pick up new teams and new players that they like. I'm telling you this right now, and I might lose my black card for this, but if every black person, let's not say if 80% of the black people in the NFL said, I'm not playing football in the league that employs racists and refuse to play until all races are removed, I'd probably still root for my black pepper in a field full of white salt raised Washington football team every single Sunday. I probably still would. And I'm as liberal and as pro-black and as Black Lives Matter oriented as any black man my age who has his eyes open to see what this world is. And that's just and that's what it is, because it's hard for me to combine those two worlds.
Yeah, you've seen so much that it's kind of like the whole thing with Kaepernick and everything that happened. It was like,
do you remember that conversation we had? Do you remember that conversation we had, Germ, in the gym?
We talked.
So just, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, let them know what it was.
Kind of like let you guys know that. So every Wednesday night, I open a gym and we play basketball, and we always, after we play, like afterwards, it'd be a group of guys of us. We all sit and we talk about like real life stuff, like afterwards. And then I posed the question to Jeremy, who's a Dallas fan, and there's another Dallas fan, a guy by the name of Al, who's a police officer in the area. And I asked them, I was like, as black men, is it hard to align yourself with Jerry Jones, because Jerry Jones had made a stance on Colin Kaepernick and things of that nature? And it was interesting to hear your response, Jeremy, where you was like, yo, my blackness makes me feel like I may have to like step away from the situation, but I'm still a Dallas fan. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's weird how we sometimes put our blackness on the side for our allegiance to the colors of an organization that we have. But this is wherein lies the power with the NFL. The NFL is kind of structured kind of how slavery was back in the day. If you look at the concept of what slavery was, they would get like these bull men, right? And then they would have when the plantation became too strong with these types of guys, they would send this particular player, or this particular slave over to another plantation. And so once they got their share of a good type of slave from this type. They would send him over to that plantation, and they were separated from his family. So they would make the family structure weak, but the plantation would thrive because it had a surplus of these big slaves that can make sure that they get everything. And that's kind of like the emulation of what the NFL does with its players. It's like, okay, boom, you're so quick to see a storyline of a black player torn down, but you never, when Ben Roethlisberger was put into the forefront of the situation, that thing disappeared. This man raped a woman and his friends came in there, cleaned the scene, and that was never talked about.
Hold on. We got some break. Hold on.
All right. Go ahead.
I think we got breaking news. Actually, we do. John Gruden has resigned.
Oh, there it is.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's according to Adam Schefter.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's why I had to look it up real quick. I was like, hold on. It says Raiders and John Gruden are parting ways, according to Tom Pelissero. Quote, "It's over," said source. Oh, man. Yeah, hey, man.
Yeah.
So
It is.
we saw a step
Yeah.
in a lot of things that
But I still want to see what the NFL does.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
see what the press is from the NFL. Are they going to step up and say, "Hey, we're not about this, yada yada yada," or are they going to be like, "Oh, this is a matter that the Raiders handle"? I'm interested in seeing how.
I mean, if I was a better man, and I am, I would say,
I like you, Rod.
I would say that they come out and just regurgitate the stuff that they already have in place. The NFL is starkly against all the things that former Raiders coach John Gruden was disclosed to be talking about in these emails. We have our end racism campaign, and we have our everyone and rainbow, like whatever campaign they have for the homosexual LGBTQ plus community that we have. They're going to just read off all the stuff that they already have going on and say that this is our proof that we're against it because we're already doing X, Y, and Z, instead of actually condemning what he did and what he got caught doing. And what's getting missed about this is that this wasn't John Gruden emailing a buddy from high school. He was emailing an executive in one of your 32 franchises at the time. Like that's what he was doing. And then that's what needs to be addressed, but it won't happen. Like the NFL, they know that addressing it and making it known that they have a stance on it, it's going to just alienate more people. John Gruden's not in the NFL no more. He is not in the NFL no more. It's no longer their issue. It's done. They're done. And that's how they're going to treat it.
That's interesting. It's interesting what the questioning will be for his brother now, who has one of the top black quarterbacks in the league, who seems to have a real dope relationship with him. If you've been seeing a lot of the media that is coming out with him asking him on fourth downs, "Hey, do we go? I trust you. I love you, man. It's gonna be interesting with the questioning is after the game. Yeah, after the game tonight. Like, yo, what's up with your bro? Are you a racist too?
Oh no, that's Harbaugh.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
I know. My bad. I'm talking about his brother, his other
Gruden, the other Gruden, Jay.
The other Gruden, Jay Gruden.
He out the NFL already.
He's not in Jacksonville anymore.
He was in Jacksonville. Then he fired the whole staff.
Oh yeah.
Urban Meyer came in.
True.
You're right. Urban Meyer must be loving what's happening with.
He is. His lap dance ain't nothing these days. He's like.
Hey, I saw as it was breaking on Twitter and everything. I saw a tweet that said Bruce Allen has now taken down John and Jay Gruden.
Oh man, the internet is defeated. Real quick though,
Undefeated.
while we're talking about the Washington football team, because we usually have a segment because Thad is a Washington football fan. So Darren and Gerard are football fans also. I'm gonna let the floor is yours. I'm gonna let it go to Darren first. What happened last? Yeah, quickly. What happened yesterday?
Bruh, as soon as they scored that, as soon as New Orleans scored on that Hail Mary at the end of the half, and nobody in the defense jumped up to even try and block it, I stopped watching, to be honest. I just checked in on the score because I was like, I can't watch anything else. I mean, our defense is making these subpar at best quarterbacks look like Tom Brady or look like Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or whoever, because they just can't stop anybody. And we keep hearing every week, all right, they're due for a breakout game. Like Chase Young is due to have his monster game. Jack Del Rio, we trust him and whatnot. I'm over it. It's all talk. Like, I know they got off to a slow start last year, but this year doesn't feel the same. I mean, it's like the sides of the ball have flipped, where the offensive side is better than the defensive side, but our offensive side isn't good enough to bail the defense out. So, man, I don't even know. I just know that after yesterday, I've resigned myself to just like looking at next year, because Dallas is going to run away with the division. It looks like the Eagles, I mean, they're probably better than us too. The Giants are going to be what they are, and Washington is just. It was nice while it lasted last season. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Gerard.
All right. So I am, I guess I'm a fan of self, torture or whatever. I watch the entire game like I do every Sunday or Thursday or whatever. And defense, I called it. I'm unfortunately doing a kind of a victory lap with all my Washington fans and my family. I called it. I said our front four is good. That's without question. They struggled out the first few games. They've been playing better lately, but our front four is good. But we have nobody that can cover the middle of the field. We have no linebackers, no safeties that can cover anybody who runs a route. Flat out, plain simple. So every tight end, every slot receiver is going to go to town on this defense because we just don't have that guy. And that's what's happening. But I think a bigger part of that, you watch the games and you listen to the post-game comments from everybody. Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio are the two-headed leaders of the defense on the coaching side. And I think they're very much of an old school, this is the defense we run. You get in line and you play it. Like Ron Rivera played for those 80s Bears teams where Coach Ryan was just – I'm the captain, I'm the lieutenant, I run this defense the way that we run it. This is Bears football. You get in, you do your job, and you shut up. And I think Rivera and Del Rio run their defense very similarly, and they don't tailor the defense to the place that they have. And you're starting to see that frustration build with the certain players because you have John Allen, who's a yes coach, no coach, and just do whatever you say. But you have more free-spirited guys that are having issues playing out of position for them, and it's just all around bad. And then on the offensive side of the ball, Heineke, it's a cute story. Undrafted guy, bounced around the league, bounced out the league, came back in, had a plucky loss to Tampa Bay in the playoffs last year. It was fun. He's not a starter. He's not a franchise guy. Best case scenario, he's Jim McMahon without a strong of an arm. Worst case scenario, he's out the league in a year. But it was a rebuilding. Last year was a rebuilding year too. It's just the rest of the division was awful and injured. So 7-9 got into the playoffs. We weren't a 12-4 playoff team last year. We were a 7-9 playoff team. Any other year, we would have been out the playoffs, drafting 9th but just the rest of the division was beat up and really bad last year. So we ended up in the playoffs, and a lot of people thought we have arrived when we hadn't. And now we see still got a long way to go.
Let's get to my favorite team.
They are the Dallas Cowboys, America's team.
They got a victory yesterday against the New York Giants, 44-20, I think, some along that lines.
Against the Giants backup unit, but okay.
Yeah, see, I knew you was gonna say something, but
I mean,
you're not gonna call that helmet to helmet on Daniel Jones
or Daniel Jones going helmet to helmet and taking the brunt of it. That's what happened.
Saquon stepped on a pebble and broke his foot.
Okay, someone has to explain that to me, because when I saw it, I say, "How did that happen?" Like,
I don't know how you can squat 555 pounds, but a size 11 cleat just takes you out. It makes no sense. I ain't never seen nothing like this guy. He gets injured. That's I've done that before, but my ankle didn't look like a tennis ball married my Achilles. It looked ridiculous. I ain't never seen nothing like that off a twisted ankle. I don't know.
So I'll say this about the Dallas Cowboys. So far this season, they've beaten teams that they should have beaten. Mm-hmm. They've beaten the Giants, they've beaten the Panthers, the Eagles, and they had a good game against the Chargers and got out of there with a game-winning field goal. Another tough game was obviously the Buccaneers game, which came down to the wire. So far, with one more game going in before the bye week, I am actually satisfied with how they're playing. Now, the rest of the way, there is going to be, now with the schedule, there's going to be 11 games after this. Cowboys have to for sure win 7 to have either a good seeding in the playoffs. If they win 6 or even 5, it starts getting dicey down the end of the season. The defense is playing a lot better. The offense is playing the way that they should have been playing last year if Dak was there the entire year. But I'm really happy with the defense, how they're just actually playing better. They're not the 85 Bears. They're not the 2000 Ravens. They're not the Legion of Boom. They're not the Broncos or the Broncos that led Peyton Manning and that team. They're just decent. And they're showing that being decent with the Dallas offense is enough for that team. So far, I am pretty happy. I was really pessimistic going into the first, especially 4 weeks. I was like, look, if they're not 3-1, it's gonna be real dicey now to end. Now that they're 4-1, things look a little better. They do need to beat the Patriots. It's in Foxborough. It is still Bill Belichick as the head coach. They beat the Patriots and go into the bye week with a 5-1 record. I will feel a lot better with the rest of the season.
You guys should be NFC Championship team. Not in the Super Bowl, but at least in the Final Four.
Yeah,
I've always said.
And y'all look better without Ezekiel. I'll say that.
Zeke is looking good, though. Zeke is looking good.
I think y'all... I think y'all are more versatile with him, like not in your sets. Like all the sets, I watched a lot of Cowboys games. Surprisingly, this when he's not in certain sets, y'all look.
Oh yeah, Pollard is more versatile, more like a Swiss tool, Swiss Army knife, can do a lot more. But Zeke, when he's in there, man, he definitely brings back the traditional running game for sure. Darren, you had something to add?
I was going to say, y'all are going to have to overcome your head coach, though.
Oh, we said that last week.
I said that last week. That was my
if anybody's going to be the reason y'all don't advance, it's going to be Mike McCarthy.
We said that
last
my point. Week. Let's quickly get to the NBA. Ben Simmons. Looks like Simmons and the Sixers are trying to work on something for Ben to come back. And we kind of spoke about it last week, Mike. He probably realized that, hey, I really missed out on $8 million.
$8 million. As a diehard Philly fan, diehard everything Philly, and as a Sixers fan, like I knew this was going to happen because he just signed. He got 4 years on the bill. He has no leverage, and at the end of the day, you just losing like you're losing money. Just all he has to do is go to the facility, perform. He doesn't even have to play at an all-star caliber level. Just perform, collect them checks. Now, I hope that he comes to Philly and gives us something or proves to us that, you know what you did in the past was the past. I'm seeing you shoot all these jumpers during the summertime on everybody's Instagram feed. I don't believe it, but I want to believe you. I want to believe you, Ben. So just come on back. Do an adequate job. Play your defense. Let us get back to our number 2, 3 seed, and I'll be happy with you.
Just like I said with the Cowboys defense, they just got decent. When it comes to Ben Simmons' perimeter and mid-range game, it just needs to get decent.
Yeah,
that's all. It don't gotta be great, just decent. Yep. We got a comment. Look who chimed in. My boy Katie. He said it's in his head. It's in his head, and that's what it is. I don't think it's talent. I just think it's just all mentally what is getting to it, man. Katie, and thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Man, it's been a long time since we've seen each other.
Speaking of which, I'm about to open the gym back up. So we about to be hooping back again.
Oh man. Let's Major League Baseball real quick. And I wish I had with the whole thing with my computer messing up, I lost all my tabs that had all my stuff running. So but I do know in Major League Baseball right now, we have a game that's going on right now. I think it's the Red Sox and the Rays. The Red Sox are leading in the series right now. Let me bring up the bracket right now so I could let you all know what's happening. The Dodgers, I believe, are here it is. Boston Red Sox are up 2-1 against the Rays, and they're playing right now. The score is Boston 3, Rays 5 in the top of the 7th. Yep, thank you.
Got it backwards. Boston's 5, Rays are 3.
Thank you. Then we have Houston.
Rod gave us that alert.
Houston's up 2-1 against the White Sox. That game got postponed due to weather today. Out in the National League, it is tied at 1 between the Giants and the Dodgers. Game 3 is tonight. And the Braves are up 2-1 against the Brewers. They're going to try and clinch that series. The WNBA Finals is going on right now. And our boy, Darren, is probably, honestly, one of the biggest WNBA fans that I know. Like, he is the guy who got me back interested into the Mystics. Because when we had to talk about it during DMV Dispute, I was like, I got to see what Darren is talking about so I don't just sit here and be quiet during this conversation. And I was like, this team is nice. And then that was the year that they ended up winning the finals.
And then it's just been downhill since then. we were beat up and broken this year. And it's very hard to win games when you've only got 6 people playing. You only got 6 players playing. Like, it's very hard. And we were up and down. And then Elena Delle Donne tried to come back. She lasted a whole roughly a game plus like halves of a couple games. And that was about it, because she's still, her back injury, it's possibly career threatening. So we don't know what's going to happen there. Our biggest pickup of the offseason, Alicia Clark, she was out before the season even started, just playing overseas. That's a whole other issue I could get into with, like, WNBA players shouldn't have to play overseas in the offseason, but it's insane. And that just, it drove me up the wall. And then our lineup has just been all over the place. But, the crazy thing, and this is what's crazy about the WNBA, they still almost made it into the postseason.
Yeah, they almost did. Came down to the last game of the season.
Came down to the very last game. Like, everything, the stars.
Fourth quarter, everything.
Right. But then once again, it's like it was a microcosm of the season. Like, they just ran out of gas at the end, which is what's been happening throughout the season. They'll be up for 3 quarters, and then that rotational exhaustion just wipes them out, and they just don't have enough in the tank. So
Before I continue, let me get to Cadian's comment. How about having the screen in front of you and don't look behind you? Damn it. Cadian, you are funny, man. You know, when I get into the studio, my studio, we'll have everything set up properly. You know, this is makeshift for now. Cadian, man, thanks for sure. Thank you for tuning in. Who's going to win the WNBA finals, Darren?
Ooh, you know what? My heart is with the Mercury winning it all. I love Candace Parker. She's one of my favorites playing in the league right now. I love what she's done for Chicago, you know, coming back home. And I know it's splitting hair. She's not technically from Chicago, but she's from the area. So don't get on my case about she's from Naperville or whatever. She's from Chicago. She came home. She got them to the finals. But I don't think Chicago has it. I think you know, it's Diana Taurasi's year again, and Mercury gonna win it all. They got to.
All right.
Let's speaking of WNBA, real fast. Did you see that fight? Did you see the fight?
I saw it, and let me tell you something. Gerard and I were talking before we started about the goodness, the greatness of Clubhouse, and like the slums of Clubhouse. And let me tell you, that was a topic of conversation. We had some people who were just like, man, this fight is terrible for the WNBA. They're already struggling. They're already struggling with ratings and image and blah, blah, blah. Then you had other people on the other side of the spectrum who were just like, yo, this fight is the greatest thing that happened for the WNBA.
Yes.
Maybe they need to have more fights happening on the court this time instead of outside of the food truck.
Yeah.
And one dude was like, maybe I'll be more interested in it. Who's the young lady, Darren, that got into the fight?
Courtney Williams.
Yo,
I knew it was a C in Williams.
She got hands. She got hands, yo.
Well, you know, we beat them the year that she was playing for Connecticut, the year that we won the finals. She was playing for Connecticut. But I mean, she's kind of had her issues everywhere she's been.
She has. That's something I learned in Clubhouse when we had this conversation. That she's had run-ins.
She got hands though. She got hands. Step on her, step up to her or her girl. You want to?
I mean, I'd post that video and be like, you know, I'd be proud of that too. But yeah, you can't really. Yeah.
You can't do it yourself. You got to link it to someone else for them to do it.
Well, apparently they're saying the Dream knew about it, but once it became public, it's like they had to
handle that. So. Let's now get to our champ and chump of the week. We celebrate those who do well.
Wow, winning.
And criticize those who don't.
Loser! You're a loser! Are you feeling sorry for yourself? Well, you should be, because you are dirt!
It's our champ.
Let's go, champ!
And chump.
Now this guy's a chump.
Of the week. Champ and chump of the week. My champ of the week goes to J.R. Smith.
Baby, want a champ.
He it was in his his debut collegiate golf career this weekend. I like how do you all follow him on Twitter?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, man. I love how he's, you know, just it's like he's an 18-year-old freshman again. It's like, you know, and he's talking about his school and his classes and just the experience playing with his collegiate teammates. So yeah, man, that's a cool thing. He got to participate now in golf and get a degree also. It is cool that, you know, he didn't even have to go back to school. Like he had all the money in the world for generations, and he's just like, nah, I see a value in school. And for some people, there's value. For some people, you don't need to go to college, but for some people, they do see value. And if it's valuable to you, then definitely make it happen. My chump of the week, though, it's too easy. It's John Gruden.
'Cause you're a chump.
So that one was too easy, but also Sage Steele.
'Cause you're a chump.
You know, her comments that she said on the Jay Cutler podcast, which, by the way, when I saw the clip, I was like, is that Jay Cutler? I was like, is that? And then they said, oh yeah, it is Jay Cutler. I was like, oh, I was like, no wonder I don't like this dude, because like there was other stuff that he was saying, and I was just like, yeah, this is why people don't really bang with Jay Cutler like at all. But Sage Steele had her comments about, you know, being forced to take the vaccine. That is not what I'm really worried about. It was the comment where she said she doesn't understand how President Obama identifies as black. And I'm just like, you know what? This is fitting for you to say, because you yourself don't really consider yourself black. So you're wondering how this man, who's also biracial like you, is like, yeah, they identify as black, especially since his black father was not around. See, the distinction for her is, well, my black father was around, yours wasn't. Why do you identify as being black? ESPN, from what I heard, they say they took her off the air. I don't know if
third time doing that.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think she got fired, but she's definitely off the air for now. And it also made me think about Rachel Nichols. What's she doing?
Waiting, trying to negotiate a trade to Fox Sports.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm just like, yeah, she's not doing anything with the NBA. Like, what is she doing?
Yeah, it was one of those things where she's like, big things coming, just wait. And we're still waiting, Rachel.
Fox Sports for sure is coming up. Her that's her best hope. She don't want to be on OAN or Breitbart or something like that. But I know for sure they offered her. I know for sure they offered her a job already. She ain't trying to go there. Oh man. Let's get to our Washington Wizards preview.
Do we get a champ and chump too?
You know what? Well, yeah. Mike, who is your champ of the week?
My champ of the week goes out to Coach Prime. Coach Prime, I am loving what.
My fault.
I'm loving what you're doing for wonderful HBCU and Jackson State. What you're doing as far as culture and empowering these young men to be next level, and it's all the elements you're doing with putting their names on jersey. And traditionally in HBCUs, there's never a name on the back of a jersey. To put the name on the jersey, to go to the opposing players each and every game and find out how their parents are doing and different things of that nature, and putting HBCUs on the map and doing it in such a classy way. Coach Prime, you are my champ of the week.
Darren and Gerard, y'all have any champs of the week?
Yeah, I got a champ. I want to shout out DMV Zone. Caleb Williams took over Oklahoma, and that crazy win over Texas over the weekend. Jeremy was talking about it before the recording started. He said he went to Gonzaga. Right?
Yeah, I think it's Gonzaga he went to.
Right? Yeah. So, shout out to the DMV, always producing top 10 athletes.
Just not staying at Maryland.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to hold you. I wouldn't want to go to Maryland either. But shout out to Caleb Williams. Continue to do it, young man. Whole city rooting for you.
What about you, Darren? You have a champ of the week?
I don't have a champ of the week, but I got a chump of the week.
Let's hear it.
Gotta go. You got. I could go a number of ways with this, but I got to go because I got to get it off my chest. Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Talk about you. Because, man, if I hear one more thing about Kyrie Irving not taking the vaccine, not going to play in any of his home games this year, I'm just like, bruh, like, I'm just sick of his, like, fake woke, whatever. And the thing that annoys me is that every once in a while, like, he'll say or do something that I agree with. Like he donates to HBCUs, right? Like he funded WNBA players that like didn't want to play in the bubble and stuff like that. Like he'll do these good things, these genuinely good things. And I'm like, all right, that's good. And then he'll go and say, nah, the earth is flat. Nah, they're putting microchips in the vaccine. And it's like, bruh, you carry a smartphone. Like, what you worried about? I don't know. But they don't control us. I don't know. But, bruh, just, take the damn vaccine. It's like, and I think he just had like another baby or something. So, like, are you going to get your baby vaccinated? Like, are you going to get vaccinated for your baby, for your family? So it's like, I mean, come on, man, just get it together. you letting down your team, or like, I don't know, demand a trade or something so that you can actually, if you really care about hooping, if you really care about basketball, then like either demand a trade to somewhere where you're going to be able to play your home games, or just take the damn vaccine and shut up.
He can come to Philly.
I got a question. I got a question. if Philly called up Brooklyn and said, "Hey, Ben Simmons for Kyrie," straight up, who says no?
You got to do it. You got to do it. Yeah,
Who says no?
I'll be happy.
Yeah,
you
for
saw
sure.
both issues. Brooklyn got enough scoring. They need somebody to stop Giannis. Hey, yo, Ben Simmons, you just here to defend Giannis come May. We'll take care of the regular season. Yeah. I mean, seems like a match made in heaven, if I say so.
But Darren, I'm with you, man. I'm with you on that. I don't know how many times I've agreed that Kyrie should be chump every time I come on this show.
Yep.
It's a consensus. He's a Hall of Fame chump award on this show.
I can't remember who sent it to me, but they were like, pretty much they were like, oh, Kyrie showed up to practice today because it was an outdoor practice. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh man, he showed up. And the tone of the tweet was like, oh man, big things happening now. And someone was like, yo, are we really celebrating someone that's showing up to work when they're supposed to? Like, this is the least of it, man. And your boy, your bro Miggy chimed in and said, come to Philly. Say, I don't care if he takes the shot. He's a grown man. Let him do it with his body. That's true. That's true. He should. It's just when you got these parameters in a city, then you gotta make choices. You gotta make choices.
I got a real quick chump of the week. I don't want to say it. You know, Jeremy and Darren probably already know it. My chump of the week: all NFL kickers.
Yo, for those that don't know, for those that don't know, Gerard has advocated to just make kickers extinct. Like, he just was like, yo, just take kickers and punters out the game altogether. We going for fourth down every time.
Young Wei Koo is winning me some fantasy.
I mean, all I'm saying is, I was an NFL. If I was a football coach, I feel like I could take my 7th string DB and have him be able to kick a 20-yard field goal anytime I needed to, or just boot off a kickoff and call it what it is. I'm paying a guy to just kick. If I'm paying you to kick and that's all I'm paying you to do, my God, you bet not miss.
At least not miss bad.
You ain't got to tackle. You ain't got to lift like they do. You ain't got to risk your head or your neck every other down. You ain't got to do none of this. Like, even during practice, you sit in the corner and you kick. If I put you in the game, I don't care if it's 20 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards, you better make it. And I will have the shortest leads. You miss one kick, you getting cut Monday.
Yeah. You just got to do leg day and practice your kicks, right?
Oh, man.
I forgot that coach's
I'm with
name.
you, bro.
There's some coach, like some like D3 football program. He refuses to kick. He'll go for it on every 4th down. He goes for 2 after every touchdown. He only kicks off on kickoff. That's the only time you have a kick out.
20, we going for it.
Yo.
That's what I'm saying.
Y'all want to hear y'all want to hear I guess an honorable mention for Chump of the Week. So Clubhouse has a new feature where you can actually share some of the audio from a room, and they enable it, and they tell you when you come into the room, when you come in, clips can be made out of what is said. And there's a button where if you hear something and you hit the clip button, it gets the last 30 seconds of what was said. Well, someone had an interesting take about a specific player on Golden State. Take a listen to this.
I mean, that's just another easy one to me. I've been saying that for like 6 months or something like
that.
You
said Jordan Poole's a better playmaker than John Morant. Did you not?
He said better player. Even his statement is even more aggressive.
Player. That's crazy.
Hey, listen. He's gonna be better than John Morant. He hasn't. I'm saying when you come, listen. Squash
No,
together.
no, I'm saying
Squash
when I
together enough. Squash
asked you
together
like
enough.
what does he do better, you said he's a better passer, better playmaker.
Yeah, you
Or
gotta
am I
watch the
lying?
tape. You gotta watch the tape.
Hey,
Nah,
You gotta watch it. Tape. I love when people say stuff.
I mean, Poole, who was just in
You gotta
G-League, like,
watch it. Tape.
You gotta watch.
That's like
Season and a
saying
half
I'm doing my
ago, you
own
know,
vaccine
hoops.
research. That makes no sense.
Yo.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
Oh no. That man was he had some good weed. I'll tell you that much. That man had the best medicinal out for that.
Oh man. Yeah, man. So
Crazy.
yeah. That's why I say, man, it's like a gold mine or like the slums on Clubhouse. Oh man. Let's get to the Washington Wizards real quick. I know you all started when I had technical difficulties, but let's just get back into it before we end the show. The Washington Wizards, they were the 8th seed last year, as you all know. Traded Russell Westbrook, and in return, I know you mentioned it, but you got Montrezl Harrell, you got Kyle Kuzma. Who else was part of that trade? KCP, yes. And so you got those guys. You end up signing Spencer Dinwiddie. And then, drafting Kispert, and you're going to get Denny Avdia back. Is Denny Avdia participating in basketball activity?
He's fully healthy. Yeah.
Okay, because I remember the break, and I remember when it happened, it looked really gruesome, but like the next day they were like, actually, it's the best case scenario for an injury of that type. They thought he was going to be fine, and that's good. I didn't watch the preseason game. I ain't watching the Wizards preseason game as much as I like them. But Darren, of course, you watched it, right?
I mean, I saw it.
Yeah, you did. You did. I knew you did.
Although
he was real reluctant with it too. He's like, I talked about it. I saw it.
Although I will say we did get tickets to the season opener, so we'll be at the home opener for regular season.
Who
so.
you're going?
Yeah, I'm going.
Oh yeah, that's what's up. You're brave. I'm not yet.
I mean,
but yeah. So the Washington Wizards, though, you get Spencer Dinwiddie. Also, you have a new head coach in here.
Spencer Dinwiddie. I like Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
He gives he's the one thing I like about him. Every year he adds something to his game. Like, this guy is a professional. Like, when you think of a player and you're coaching, you're like, hey man, I want you to work on this. I want you to go back to the lab and do this. Every single year he brings something new to his game. And it's going to be interesting to see him in a featured situation. I feel like he got phased out of the net situation, but I think if they utilized him, obviously he got hurt, but if they utilized him, kept him, I think they would be more formidable with him on the squad if they worked that situation out than, say, a Joe Harris, So that's just my opinion.
No. Great insight about Spencer Dinwiddie. Gerard, knowing what you know now about the Washington Wizards, how many wins are they getting? What place they're going to end up?
So yeah, I'm working that out right now. So the way I see it, best case scenario, 7 seed. I got the Bucks, the Nets, the Sixers, the Knicks, the Hawks, the Celtics firmly above them. Then I feel like they right on par with teams like Indiana, if Indiana's fully healthy. I forgot about the Heat, so maybe 8th. Yeah, so like I said, and then the Raptors, they kind of going through a little rebuilding phase, but Nick Nurse ain't no slouch. They got talent in that roster. I forgot them finishing around the same place they did last year, but we're having more wins because the East is better. Because even teams like Chicago took a huge, step, at least talent-wise. Lonzo, DeMar. The East is really, really tough to go. It's going to be slugfest every game, even in our own division. It's not a bad team in the division. I mean, the Magic are pretty bad, but they got a lot of young talent, and they always have a lot of fight in them. So you can't really, take a night off against anybody in the East. And it's crazy to say that but it's just the way it is. So I got to finish around 8th, not playing tournament spot again. Best case scenario, they get to 6th, because I'm not that big on the Celtics team. I like Tatum. I like Brown, but outside of that, they ain't got much depth. They don't got that much, NBA talent on that bench. So it's it gets real muddy around the middle of the pack. But I got them around 8th.
What about you, Darren?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's kind of like what Gerard said. I mean, the East, there's a lot of talent in the East. Like a lot of these teams got better in the offseason. I still got, Nets. I still got like Nets at the top. Philly depends what happens with Simmons and all that, but I mean, they're still going to be formidable. Chicago got better. They're going to be in the mix. I'm still not convinced because I feel like every year we say Chicago got a little bit better, but they're still like not quite there. I just need to see what they look like. But I got the Wizards as a solid play-in tournament team, 7th or 8th at best. I don't really see them at 6th. I'm hoping they surprise me. I just have a lot of questions about the depth and the fit and playing time. So I think the first couple of months are going to be very telling. I know they got off to a very slow start last year, but team's different than last year. I think the best thing the Wizards did this offseason was let Scott Brooks walk and get a coach that's focused on defense. Wes Unseld Jr. is a defensive-minded head coach. That's been this team's biggest struggle for the past decade. Well, not the past decade, since Randy Whitman was since Randy Whitman.
Maybe 20 years, with the exception of Randy Whitman.
Randy Whitman, until that year they tried to become like the Golden State Warriors or whatever, but they don't have the 3-point shooting to do that.
Because Eddie Jordan and Flip Saunders did not give a lick about nobody's defense.
Nope. But Randy Whitman coached defense. So as far as wins, I don't know. I probably got them. I think that the absolute cap is 40 wins, but I don't see that happening. I got them somewhere between 35 and 40 wins. I think that's playing. I think that's going to be playing for the East this year, but it all depends.
Before I get to my opinion, Mike, as a fan of the 76ers, how do you view the Washington Wizards going into this season?
We haven't talked about Charlotte. We haven't talked about healthy Indiana Pacers. Chicago definitely got better. I watched their preseason game the other day. They look like a problem. People are sleeping on what Ball meant to New Orleans, and he's going to get to play his game uninhibited. And picking up old boy from the Lakers was a big move too. He's fitting into that formula that they're doing over in Chicago, and they have a lot of scrappy players who know their role. And that's the thing about this league. If you know your role and you let your superstar talent, you got DeMar, you got Zach, who's got is going to actually face teams without double teams this year. That Chicago, Charlotte, Indiana. Y'all might be looking at a lottery this year, which is good for you guys because I think that will benefit you guys at the end of the day if you draft right. and Rob made a good point. Like y'all have been positioned to get some good players. Y'all have drafted some stinkers, like some absolute stinkers at the end of the day.
Yeah, my bad.
Go ahead. What you saying?
I tweeted this a couple days ago. I mean, if they would just not to feed into stereotypes, stuff like that. just draft a brother who can ball. Like they keep going for a fancy pick. Like, all right, you could have took Cam Reddish. You didn't. You took Rui. And I'll go to you can pull up the DV dispute files. I called it out on draft night how I ain't that one.
If you remember, I called that they were going to draft Rui.
I called it too.
And I called it as a mistake.
I just didn't think Cam would be there.
I don't want to take the foreign player who's been playing basketball for 3 years. I played basketball longer than Rui played basketball. Like he just happened to be 6'9". Like he has a baseline of like talent, but he doesn't have the years of playing basketball behind it. Then the very next year after that, you could have took. You didn't know who your point guard was. You didn't know who your point guard was. So you had a whole bunch of. You didn't have a point guard for the future. You could have took Tyrese Halliburton. Young boy was out there balling, all in the Big Ten, all his last year in college. You take Denny, guy from overseas. Again, they love them overseas guys. And I was like, all right, cool. All right, you know what? It is what it is, I guess.
I had to talk myself into liking Denny.
I'm still trying to talk myself into liking Denny. I don't know I don't know what his fit in the NBA is.
Neither does Scott Brooks.
I honestly don't know. Best case scenario, he's like a Hedo Turkoglu, and that's cool, I guess. But Hedo is a fourth option at best.
But Hedo would strap up every now and then. D, this dude don't play no defense.
And then this past draft, you go out and you get the guy that looks like he sells insurance over Cam Thomas. And Cam Thomas goes to the most loaded roster in the NBA and still out here getting buckets. I get it's preseason. I understand that THT looked like Michael Jordan last preseason for the Lakers a year ago. I get all that. But I'm just saying, man, like I'll tell him, we talked about it like before. If the Wizards had a guy that I feel like in 3 years could be an all-star, I'll be like, okay, stay on the path, develop a backcourt duo with Beal and Dinwiddie, and you're going to have guys coming up in the next couple of years to be able to come right along them, and it'll be a formidable team when Katie gets older, Joel has a few more years of wear and tear. Jimmy's older. We'll be right there with the young teams like the Celtics and the Hawks and the Bucks and be able to be, maybe one of those top 4 teams. But I don't see it. So, and now, like you said, Mike said, you got to consider the Bulls. The Bulls look nice. The Bulls look like they look good. They got veterans who know what their jobs are. They know their roles. Lonzo and DeMar, that's a good addition to that team.
And Book Knight, that Bama. Whew.
That's another one. That's another one that we could have took, but just wasn't there for us. And a healthy Indiana. Charlotte's another team that you mentioned. They live and die by Gordon Hayward. So that's why I don't really consider them because they need any team that needs Gordon Hayward to give you 25 a night in 2021. I don't really think you're a playoff team. I'm not scared of y'all.
You just disrespected.
It's not his talent. It's not his talent. It's the fact that ever since he left Mormon country, he can't stay healthy, and so he hasn't been healthy. His
man ain't soaking no more. He ain't soaking no more.
I mean, I don't know. So I love LaMelo Ball. I thought he was gonna be a bust. He's legit. He the truth. He good. So just the East is just loaded. It's a loaded team. Loaded conference. And I will say your Sixers, y'all gonna struggle out the gate. It's gonna be tough. But if y'all don't trade them by the 20 game mark, then I don't know.
But I must say this, just to interject for the Sixers. Maxey is looking promising. Maxey is looking very promising for us right now. So that's the wonderful thing about Ben not being around. We've put the reins in his hands, and he worked out this summer. He's a different player, and it'll be interesting to see that dynamic going down the stretch. Just to interject the little Sixers.
You do know that without Ben Simmons to provide, even though he wasn't a huge scoring threat, the playmaking and defense attributed to extra points for your team and less points for the other team. So without that, you're going to have Tobias Harris going to have to actually play up to his contract. And he has not done that since he signed his name.
I have a counter for that. Thibault is actually going to get some more time as well.
Thibault will get more time, but Thibault's not Ben Simmons.
No, he's not. No, I'm not going to say that. But what it'll do is it'll have Doc actually have to coach a full team and not rely on what he inherited with having a perimeter defender like Ben Simmons. And it'll be interesting to see how, he makes that adjustment. So
When was the last time Doc had to coach?
my prediction for the Washington Wizards. The East is now the best conference in the NBA. I think that we just named legit 10 teams that can make the playoffs. If we even think even more, they could be 11 or 12 of the 16 have a shot at least the 8th seed. I do believe that the Bucks, in no specific order, but the Bucks, Nets, Sixers, Heat. I don't know about the Knicks, but the Hawks for sure.
I'm not sold on the Knicks yet.
I think those teams are 5 teams for sure ahead of the Wizards.
I know for the Knicks, because I got my right foot is planted in DC with the Wizards, but I got like a left pinky toe in Chicago with the Bulls, and like a right shoulder up in Madison Square Garden.
You are fake news.
So the Knicks getting Kemba for like $20 a day.
That is a steal.
That's what Kemba, is he ever going to be what he was in Charlotte? No. The reason why it didn't work in Boston is because needed him to be a playmaker. He's not that. He's a bucket getter. He just happens to be 5'11". That's his only issue. If the Knicks just say, listen, I just need you to come out and get 18 a night, reliably, get 18 a night, let Julius Randle do his thing. If RJ take a next step, they got talent on that roster. And they love playing for Tibbs. And they got a bench. They got Quickly. They got Rose. They got talent on it. Like, Knicks, I'm not saying NBA Finals contender, but they should be like firmly out of the play-in tournament danger zone. I have them as like a 4th or 5th seed because I have the Sixers and the Celtics getting off to a slow start, and the Knicks come and pick up where they left off last year.
I think the Wizards will be the 7th seed with 41 wins. They'll be 41-41 in the 7th seed. That's where I think they're going to end up.
So you think the Wizards are better than Boston?
Yeah, man. Yeah, as a team, and if they play to their capability, that's all the thing. If they play to their capabilities, and if Tatum's they just start off decent, I'm not even saying you got to start off, 10 in a row. They just got to not start off 1-15. So I think they could be the 7th seed. Obviously, you're going to be in that play-in with the 7th seed. And we got comments from Miggy saying I'm a homer, and maybe true, but I think we'll be in the 7th seed.
Y'all know Jaylen Brown got COVID.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, he's out with COVID.
Yeah, he's on protocol.
Yeah,
but like I said, I think Boston's going to win the regular season series against Washington.
Yeah.
I
don't doubt you guys be top 8. I don't doubt that. Potentially.
I am
but
low.
Chicago and Charlotte they're right there knocking on y'all like, hey, y'all gonna be in this playing tournament with us, and we're gonna try this one or done affair to see if you can get past us. So
yeah, I am low on Boston. Jason Tatum might be the 3rd best player in the East, but the rest of that roster, before the COVID, I like Jaylen Brown, but he's a fringe all-star as well. He's not an all-star guy. He's a fringe all-star. And for the life of me, I can't. What is their starting lineup? Who is their starting point guard?
But wait, I saw this interesting stat. They were talking about how top 5 players play this season after they win gold, USA Gold. And to see the player that Jason Tatum can potentially be with this gold experience, and they talked about how like players like that, they see other workflow, and Boston could be a problem. Like put it on Jason's shoulders, and they might. That's where the interesting debate with you guys at the 7th and 8th seed kind of happens, because if Jason Tatum goes off, y'all gonna be in trouble.
I expect Jason Tatum to go off and have a really great season, because that post-Olympic like spark into a career is a very real thing. You go back to all the other Olympic teams, the 08 team, the Dream Team, the Redream Team, whatever. Like in 2012, like that team was all like established guys for the most part. But usually when you go to the younger players that watch the legends, they do get better. So that is a really real thing. It's just, for me, it's Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown's a great number 2. It's just the rest of the roster for me. It's like they have Time Lord, who's a solid big, but he reminds me of Thomas Bryant in a way, where he's kind of undersized. It's all want to.
Oh, Dennis Schroeder is their point guard, and he's got something to prove.
Does he?
This year they talked about he lost the bag. Yo, he's got something to prove. Like, look, he's trying to get his money back. So a hungry Dennis Schroeder, who will strap. Dennis Schroeder will strap your guard up, like with motivated. Like, I don't know, they might be all right.
And then got a new coach. Brad Stevens ain't holding the clipboard no more. I got all right. So I have the Celtics, the Sixers, and the Heat getting off the slow starts. I have like all of them being around 500 going into like December. Just new coaches, distractions. The Wizards I have just under 500 to start, and then hopefully they pick it up when things could gel a little bit. But like I said, it's going to be a dogfight in the East. Like, I get NBA League Pass every year for the past couple of years. There's not a bad team on this, like in the NBA. Like, every single team has at least one guy I want to watch, whether it be like a young rookie or a player. Like, the Kings might be the only squad that got like, Darren Fox or like.
No, what's his name? What's the young boy with the
Halliburton?
Halliburton. Yo, he's tough.
He's tough, but I ain't gonna go out my way to watch a Kings game. It's gonna be because they playing somebody else. Like, I ain't gonna like. Oh wait, especially
they still got Marvin Bagley. And on that note, it's been a pleasure having you guys come on the show. Before we do, though, Mike, let everyone know where they can get your services as a photographer if they're interested.
Man, if y'all want to reach your boy, you can get on the web at dualvisionphotography.com, or you can hit me up on social media at dual.vision.photos on Instagram, or you can check me out on YouTube on my show, The Dual Exchange. That's live every Friday at 2:30 p.m. Uplifting creatives here in the DMV.
All right. Roddy, KG.
Yes, sir.
Let them know where they can find you and your hot takes.
Find me on Twitter at Rob Bricklin, like it says in the bottom left-hand corner. Find me on Twitter at Roddy.kg, on Instagram at Roddy.kg, on Twitter at Rob Bricklin. Please, support local Black businesses like my man's Mike up there, like Darren, and like a lot of people you probably know in your lives. And support HBCUs, man. HBU alum, stand tall for my school. Make sure you guys support those that support you.
Yep. Darren, what about you?
I'm all over the place. You can find me on Twitter at dbirdhoops. That's DBIRD hoops. Or I'm all over IG on the gram at fit_Mr_music. So very easy to find me. If you need a musician, I'm here. If you need a personal trainer, I'm here. I'm all over the place. And yeah, just hit me up. Or if you just want some hot takes, I'm all around.
What's your TikTok account? Because I just got on TikTok not too long ago. And now, or have you already given up TikTok already?
No, we're trying to plan out some good like couples TikToks or something.
So you a TikToker then?
Yeah,
you just not on there. You are a TikToker.
Oh no, I'm always on. I'm watching right now. I haven't made anything, but yeah, I'm on TikTok. dbird33, DBIRD 33.
Hey, turn up. Yeah, you're like an early innovator for TikTok. I'm the late adopter.
Right when everything shut down, it was like, what's this TikTok thing about? Oh, all right.
Oh man, I only got TikTok to learn so I could learn for a job application because they've been asking, yo, you know how to use TikTok? I was like, I guess so. Oh man, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Shout out to the OSS 980 Other Side of Sports with Harold D and Aaron. Shout out to Soggy Nachos, Shut Your Face. Shout out to Curls and Sports. Karita Parks of Parks PR. Also, I have to get Janelle, one of my good friends on Clubhouse. I was on her show, the Good Rookies podcast. So shout out to them. Make sure you check them out. Until next time, everyone, sports reality. Peace.
Peace out.